All right, we got the 528 doing a standard job, I suppose. A lot of people will have to do or have done already on their 528s or any M52TU or M54 motor. This is the 2.8, as I said. I had a leak, small, but started getting gradually more and more noticeable. I was having to put oil in it fairly regularly. And I first suspected the oil pan gasket because there was oil all around the edge of the pan. But after researching on the internet, seems like this is the culprit, and visually it definitely looks like the culprit. This is the oil filters housed in here, and that kind of connects to this big molded aluminum piece that has all sorts of stuff coming in and out of it and things bolted to it. And there's a gasket basically behind that. It bolts it to the block, and that fails. That seal gets old and crusty, like a lot of the seals on these motors when they get closer to 200,000 miles. And so that's a pretty severe leak, as you can tell. I'm also going to be tackling some of the air leaks that I have. I got the ISA, I guess, valve, which is here. This gasket here that bolts it to the intake manifold fails, and for me, you can see it got pinched right in there, and for sure wasn't making a seal. So I got a new one of those. Then there's this rubber piece here that usually fails and has cracks in it and stuff. I believe I did have that off already and I checked it, but I am going to go ahead and replace that as well because it's a real common place for this, air leaks to happen. And I am showing indications of vacuum leaks from the codes that I'm throwing. So, nice handy thing is that the power steering pump just is 2 bolts here, and it slips off this piece, which is nice. Like, a lot of people have told me, you hear, oh, BMWs are a pain in the ass to work on, but I'm actually this is actually going along pretty easy. I'm pretty impressed with it. Keeping my bolts, which are different lengths, in the right order. Yeah, I'll show you a little more once I get that piece off and take a look what's underneath. All right, so got that piece out. It's pretty easy. Gotta make sure you unbolt the Vanos actuator banjo bolt there. The hose comes out with it. Yeah, it looks like it's fairly obvious that's where my leaking's coming from. There's also this line up here that bolts in that could also have a little bit of leaking. But yeah, that's definitely where I'm having my leak. While you're in here, it's also, a good idea to check other things. A lot of times this air tube that goes to the air alternator for cooling gets plugged up with leaves. And the inside of this tube, it's actually part of the alternator. You want to fish them out. So I still have a few in there. Because that's going to really affect it might burn your alternator out fairly quickly if you have a lot of leaves in there and alternator can't do its cooling. These vehicles are obviously very electrically hungry, so definitely want to make sure that's working correctly. Let's see, now I'm onto this little tube here. I'll take that out, and I'm also going to replace the gasket for the oil dipstick, the little O-ring there, which I never did. but that's also can be a potential vacuum leak, and it looks like it is might be leaking a little bit. But other than that, I mean, things look fairly good in here. I did replace the CVV. Set up basically the oil separator system, which is this valve here, including this tube that comes up. Then there's a tube in here that also is part of it. There's actually a lot of pieces, including the one that runs down and connects to the oil tube down in here, right there, that one. That was all broken before, and now it's all new. All right, well, let's see how she cleans up. Here's actually the valve for the housing. You can see. I'm not sure exactly if it's where the seal probably was, but that's probably so old. It might be the original one on the car. I bet it is. So that'll be nice to replace that. You can see my brand new pulley that I put on here. It's one of the first things I did to the car is replaced all the pulleys, which were all squeaking. This hose doesn't actually look too great, but that might be residual leaking from before, or that could be oil. Yeah, well, you know, it does look like it's wet. It might be leaking. So I wish I could replace that now, but I'm actually not going to at this point. But I might take it off and clean it to see. Alright, so yeah, like everybody else's, this is definitely just coming out in chunks. I'm just using this pick and just grabbing it. It's just literally just chunks coming out. It's absolutely rock hard pieces. So yeah, that's probably was my leak. Kind of got it back together. Did a quick kind of cleaning on it. Just washed off general area. Yeah, that's it. So did some engine work today, but also did some clean work. Something not dirty and filthy. That is my solar panel install. It is a 100-watt flexible solar panel, so it kind of follows the curve of the roof. And I just used vinyl, graphics vinyl, like sign vinyl, to stick it down. It's not the best, probably not the final way of installation, but it's definitely on there and secure. It ain't moving. And the wires, there's wires I had to loop because they come out of this box that is definitely not flat. And I just did that in one big piece, and so it should be sealed. I also put some a goop around where the wires actually go in, and they go into the factory antenna hole that was there for a cell phone, integrated cell phone, BMW cell phone, which this car was wired for but never equipped with. It's kind of a ridiculous idea right before cell phones actually became commonplace. So I got the wires coming in, location in here, and then there's the goop you can see, and they're gonna run down here, and I got them coming out right here for now, so I can connect to them. They're just gonna come down this wall, and it's crazy because the battery's right here, and I'll probably get rid of this amp, and I will install my charge controller and various devices and things in there, and the battery will probably go under here somewhere. I'm not sure yet. Might remove the spare, probably won't, but still something to figure out. But yeah, so that'll be fun. Get something to play with now.